Hi guys, you probably know me from, if you do watch my channel, Not Just Benidorm, which I do with my friend Michelle, where we go out and have a dig about Benidorm, have a laugh, try all the stuff that, you know, that we've never done before in Benidorm. Most of the time we're taking the piss out of ourselves. That's, you know, that's what we do. And then 7 weeks ago, I found out I had breast cancer. It literally was when I did my last video with Michelle, when we did the tapas. I was waiting then and for my biopsy results. And I didn't have a good feeling, but, you know, we did the video. It might have shown, I don't know. I wasn't really in the mood, but I really wanted to get a video out. So, yeah, I found out shortly after I put that video out. I didn't find a lump. I didn't know, I wasn't in pain. I actually went to the gynecologist because I was convinced I was in the menopause, because my anxiety was really, really bad for about 6 months last year, and it still carried on. And I started taking Prozac for my anxiety to try and calm it down, but it was still like over the top. Something personal happened to me last year, and it really upset me. And that's why I went on the Prozac, because I wasn't coping. And then a few people said to me, hey, you sure it's not because you're in menopause and it's making it worse? So I went to see my GP in Albier, and she said, hey, let's do some blood tests, you know, we'll see if you definitely are in the menopause. And I'd only had 3 periods in a year, so I pretty much knew that was what was happening, and I was starting to have sweats and stuff like that. So I booked an appointment at Hospital Clinic Benidorm because I have kind of private healthcare there. I would say it's more like I can see consultants and have blood tests and have an x-ray, and that's about it. And luckily for me, in the 5 years I've been here, apart from once going to the Villa Joyosa Marina Baixa Hospital, I've got away with not visiting my local Spanish doctor. I've been able to see doctors that speak English. They're not English, but they speak English via Clinic Benidorm. And so I booked an appointment to see the gynecologist to find out my blood test results, as advised by my doctor. And when I went there, she said, hey, you haven't had a mastectomy. We'll get onto that later. She said, hey, you haven't had a mammogram for 3 years. Let's just do one. So I was like, fine. So she did a smear, and I found out the smear was fine and everything. Came back the week after, had a mammogram. She did an ultrasound as well, because she wasn't happy with the mammogram. And in the past, I've had calcium deposits in my breasts. I've got a couple of cysts. I've had just needle biopsies. I think the last one was 15 years ago, and everything was fine. They wasn't bothered about it. Yeah, my last mammogram here was 3 years ago. And I was kind of waiting for, because I'm like 51, I was waiting for the, I'm going to call it the National Health Service in Spain, because it's just a big mouthful otherwise. I was waiting for them to call me up. I was being a bit lax, but I wasn't really bothered. And she said to me, I'm not happy. She did like an ultrasound on my breast and said, I'm not happy with what I've seen. Can you go right now and have another mammogram? So I did. And then I came back, and the girl kind of said to me, it's okay, she'll look over the mammogram and then we'll let you know. So I thought, okay, it must be all right. I walked away, just didn't think anything of it, to be honest. And then about 5 days later, the doctor called me from Clinic Benidorm, and she said, I don't want to worry you, but I've seen something I don't like. And I said, oh, is it just the calcium? I already know about that. She said, yes, but there's more of it than there was 3 years ago, and I want you to go and come here and have a biopsy. So I said, well, I can't have a biopsy at Clinic Benidorm. It'll cost me €1,500, and I don't have that. So I have to go to my local doctor for the first time and go and speak. I'm registered with the local doctor. I just don't go there because they speak Spanish. and it means taking an interpreter. So that's, you know, that's something you have to be aware of when you live here, that if you don't speak Spanish, you do need to take interpreters to your local doctors and your local hospital. The only place you don't have to worry so much is if you have private healthcare and you go to Clinic Benidorm or the Vanity Hospital. So that's why it's never been a problem for me. And I see heart consultants, I've seen a rheumatologist, I've seen a neurologist, because I have various other health issues anyway, all at Clinic Benidorm. And all those appointments are covered on my insurance, which is called Sanitas Basic. So she said to me, okay, fine, but please get in contact with your doctor straight away, come down and collect the results and get that biopsy sorted. So I went to my local doctor, I explained to him that the biopsy was needed, and he got in contact with the hospital. And I think it was a bit of a nightmare because the hospital kept ringing me, and I've had Spanish lessons, but I don't speak enough Spanish to be able to understand a hospital calling to tell me about an appointment and what it's for and what department it's in and so forth. And my husband's been learning Spanish for quite a few years, and even he struggled. But they don't leave a message. They just call you a couple of times and then try again the next day. And, you know, I wasn't getting anywhere. So I went to the hospital physically, went and drove to Villajoyosa myself, tried to find the right departments. I went there twice to try and find and say, hey, you've called me, it's easier with Google Translate, you see, when you get there, and say, you know, are you calling me about my biopsy? And the two occasions I went there, they just said, oh, we were just calling you to let you know that we'll be calling you about a biopsy. So, yeah, that was a bit of a nightmare. So it took about 3 weeks to get my biopsy. And finally, Michelle came with me. I went for the biopsy, and it was done by a machine. And I was crying, I was scared. I've had needle biopsies. I really didn't like having that done. It was very uncomfortable, and I was very bruised afterwards. So now, when I walked in, it was actually a machine that was going to do the biopsy. It's like you lay on your side, they squash your boob. You can see she came out with this massive, looked like a huge needle to me, but it was like had tubes coming off of it and everything. And I thought, Jesus Christ! But yeah, she put it on the machine, and the doctor came through, and they gave me local anaesthetic in my breast. And I was thinking, I'm still going to feel this. And I was crying, and they were telling me not to worry, to calm down. And the machine's guided by like a scan. It sort of tells the needle where to go. And I didn't even know these existed, because up 15 years ago, mine was just being guided by a doctor's hand. But yeah, the needle went in, and actually I didn't feel it. I think I was more scared about what it was going to feel like, but I didn't really feel it go in. And she kept twisting this button, and it was clicking. And at the time I didn't know, it was kind of like going further and further, picking up what I didn't know was 12 different biopsies. I couldn't look at the needle, but I did look at the top of the needle, and I could see my blood coming out. I could see bits of flesh from inside me, obviously, that they had taken out to do a biopsy on. And so I could see, I was fascinated by that. And it didn't last that long, really. And the needle came out, and that didn't hurt, and they just bandaged me up. And I really thought I was going to have severe bruising after that, but I didn't. It was fine. I mean, I've still got the scar now from what it must be 5-6 weeks ago. But yeah, I had no pain. I had pain when the hat guy did it with the needle in England a long time ago, but yeah, no pain at all, nothing. Looked bruised, but I didn't feel any pain. So yeah, that was my first thing that happened when I had to go for the biopsy. And I was worried, but then I thought, well, I've had mammograms and biopsies since I was 18, on and off, and they've never found anything. This is going to be one of those occasions, and everyone kept saying to me, oh, you'll be fine, it's going to be fine. And I thought, well, I've got so many other health problems, I doubt very much that I'm going to get cancer, because I've got a congenital heart defect. I've had heart surgery twice. I've got cavinomas on my brain. I've got 2 autoimmune diseases, and I have epilepsy as well, which I discovered when I got here, front left temporal lobe epilepsy. So I thought, oh, surely there's no way that I'm going to be handed out cancer as well, because I think I have enough going on. You know, that was the last thing I actually thought about. And yeah, so it must have been about a week later, nearly 10 days, that I had a call again to say I had an appointment. And I took my husband, because it was like very short notice. I think they called me at 4 and said, can you come in tomorrow at 9 or something? And I didn't have an interpreter back then. I just sort of thought we could get, you know, I thought, to be honest, I thought I was going and they were going to say to me, yeah, everything's fine, it's not a problem, we'll keep an eye on it. So I just took my husband, who can speak quite a bit of Spanish, and I went, and we both said, yeah, it'll be fine. But then in the car I said, I really don't know. I just had a panic and thought, I don't know. And so we went in to see this Spanish, she was a gynecologist. I didn't see an oncologist the first time. I saw a gynecologist. And she looked at my husband and said in Spanish, she has breast cancer. And I could tell by my husband's face that something was wrong, because he didn't do that. Oh, that's good. He kind of, his face dropped and he looked at me, and I said, did she just say I had breast cancer? And he said, yes. And then that was it. I started crying. I couldn't stop crying, because even though I had my doubts that day, I seriously was not expecting that. I had no lump, no pain. I didn't go actively asking for a mammogram. It was suggested as a, hey, let's just do one. And I think I was in shock, absolute shock. And they said that what I had was in my milk ducts, it was estrogen positive. They wasn't sure if it was HER2 positive, which is aggressive. And they thought it was quite small. I can't remember the exact millimetres, but they thought it was quite small. And I was told back then that I would have a lumpectomy and then radiation. So I thought, okay, that's not great. That's not great, but they caught it early. And she said that they were going to use my tissues that they took from the biopsy and do another test to see if I was HER2 positive. I was progesterone negative. So I had 2 positives. So I went home. I was very upset, very distressed, thinking about everyone who said to me, oh, you'll be fine, it's going to be nothing, you know. And I think I was in shock. I was in literal shock, because, as I said, I've got other health problems, and I really thought no one's going to hand me out cancer, surely, which is quite naive, because, you know, there's such a high percentage of women who get breast cancer. You just think it's not going to be you. And let me be a word of warning that you don't have to have a lump, you don't have to feel it. Even my gynecologist couldn't feel it. You don't have to feel it for something to be there. It can just be there. And, you know, I have a lot to thank my gynecologist at Clinic Benidorm for, by even suggesting that I have a mammogram, because what would have happened to me is I wouldn't have known, and because it's aggressive, it would have broken out. It would have gone to my lymph nodes. It would have gone to my liver, and so forth. So I wouldn't have actively seeked out a mammogram. I'm a bit kind of like, I'm only 51. I've been fine 3 years ago. Bit naive, a bit stupid. So Not to scare anybody, but, you know, what I'm saying is you don't have to feel a lump or pain to have breast cancer. And when you're supposed to have one, which is, I think it's 49 over here, I should have been on the ball. I should have been contacting either the, you know, like the NHS version in Benidorm to say, hey, you've not called me up, or I should have actively gone to Clinic of Benidorm and requested a mammogram myself and been responsible, and I didn't. And that's just one of those things. But, you know, luckily the woman suggested it, the gynecologist at Clinic of Benidorm, and they caught it. So I think that's enough for now. So I'll carry on again with what happened next, because obviously you know, or maybe you don't know, that if you have a lumpectomy and radiology, you don't lose your hair. So there's a reason why I'm about to lose my hair, and I'll talk to you about it in my next video. I am going to be vlogging. Look how hot it is, I've got sweat dripping down my face. I am going to be vlogging my journey with this, and I'm doing it because I want to help people and women that live in Spain, because I tell you something, it's extremely daunting when you don't speak Spanish, you're living in Spain, you've got to rely on the Spanish health service to take care of you. It's hard enough I mean, you know, like a lot of people said to me, oh, just as well you're not in England because the service is terrible. But let me tell you, it's not easy living in Spain, being surrounded by Spanish doctors and Spanish hospitals. And, you know, that was something that I got very scared about. But I do know that the Spanish healthcare system is really good. And if I can help somebody go through this journey, if they are living here and they are scared and they're not sure what to do, hopefully going through my journey with me, I can help somebody else maybe, and show you what happens and the best things to do, either from my mistakes, like really I should have got an interpreter to come with me to that first diagnosis. I didn't think it was going to happen. You know, I should have done. And I did learn my lesson, and I managed to get hold of a local cancer charity put me in touch with an amazing interpreter, and she has been with me for the last few weeks at all my appointments and fighting my corner. And, you know, it's really important that you get an interpreter as soon as you find out you have any illness. For me, it's breast cancer. And also because this is going to affect my heart, you know, you need it for every single appointment you go to. You need to understand. I mean, I had jabs yesterday, so I've got a bit of a red swollen arm. I had, because of the chemo, and it's going to kick my immune system, I had to have a jab for shingles and pneumonia. And I normally have a bad reaction. I normally get quite ill when I have, even a tetanus can make me ill. I had a flu jab, I'll get flu. I had the swine flu jab, my arm absolutely blew up years ago. And I had the pneumonia jab, which didn't bloody work because, Jesus Christ, 2 years later, I came to Benidorm on holiday and went home with pneumonia. So I was like, when I had the pneumonia jab originally, I was told, oh, you only have to have it once in your life and you'll never get pneumonia again. Bollocks, I did. So I'm not quite sure what this pneumonia jab's, how long it lasts for. I don't know. But I do have, so far, apart from a swollen, extremely sore arm, it's not like a grapefruit like it was the last time I had a vaccine. It's just sore. Yeah, even for me, I got stressed about going for the vaccinations, and I had my lovely interpreter there, Maureen, and, you know, just to explain to them that I'm not allergic to anything, but I do have a reaction, as in I can get ill. You don't realise that the vaccine people in the hospital here in Villajoyosa next to Benidorm, they have their own department, and I was given like a breakdown list of the vaccines I need to have over the next year. And when you see it's a year, you start to realise that this cancer journey is not going to be like over and done with quickly. We're talking like at least a year once my chemo starts. And the vaccines continue, because after my chemo stops, I still have to carry on with other medication for about a year. So the next one is in July. Oh, excuse me, I am sweating today. We had absolute torrential rain yesterday. I got soaked coming out of the hospital, and now it's like absolutely boiling. Yeah, I've got to go back in July and have my hepatitis A and B and a top-up essentially for shingles. So originally I was thinking, oh, I can't wait for that. And then I thought, well, let's put it on a balance here. You're having chemo. What's worse, having a few more jabs in July, or having chemo and feeling sick and your hair falling out? Got to balance it up a little bit. So yeah, I had no idea that, you know, when you have breast cancer, I know you have chemo, and I didn't realise that you have to have, you know, continuous vaccines and stuff like that. And it actually mentioned the COVID jab, and I thought, sod that, because I had 3 COVID jabs and they made me really ill. And I still believe I caught COVID, and I don't trust the COVID jab. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. Personally, for me, I followed lots of YouTube videos, and a few of my illnesses appeared after my 3 COVID jabs. So I'm not convinced that the COVID jab, well, I didn't play a part in that. I'm not saying it did, and I'm not saying it didn't. But some things that happened to me weren't there before the COVID vaccination. So yeah, when it said COVID vaccination, I thought I might have a fight on my hands there. But yeah, I think very shortly I'll be wearing a mask again, because you need to protect yourself from catching colds, flu, anything really. I'd love you to come on this journey with me. This isn't really for men. Men, if you want to watch it, great. But this is really for women. I just want to help people. Maybe it'll help me as well, because doing the Not Just Benidorm videos, I hated Benidorm. I've been here 5 years and I hated it, and I was still struggling to settle in. And I had such fun with Michelle that I actually started to enjoy it and appreciate it. So yeah, I was really struggling, and that's why I did the Not Just Benidorm. Really to take the piss out of ourselves and us having problems with Benidorm, and to try and get into the spirit, as I always say on our videos, of Benidorm. So I'm hoping that not only will I help other people, hopefully other ladies, perhaps who've moved to Spain or live in Spain and are about to go through this journey, or worried what happens if they did go through this journey. I'm hoping that I can be there for them, see my experience. I hope you enjoyed today's video. It's not, you know, it's not the best news, but I'm going to try and deal with it as best as I can with my friends, especially Michelle. She has been absolutely amazing and there for me so far. And she's going to be my chemo buddy, and hopefully she'll continue to make me laugh, and me her. Because so far we've joked about this for about the last 7 weeks. Suddenly it's not becoming so funny. It's becoming more real. So yeah, thanks for watching. And if I don't get a chance to do another Not Just Benidorm with Michelle, I'll be back on here with my hair cut. And I'm actually going to film me having my hair cut, because I think it's important for people to see. I'm not going to hide anything from anybody. I think it's really important for everybody to see how I feel and how it makes you feel. There's just no point in hiding anything. I've always been real on Not Just Benidorm, and I want to continue to be real. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.